Hello, everybody, and welcome to World Product Day from my side as well. It's exciting to do my part in sharing some thoughts and hopefully inspirations for you all in becoming more awesome product people. Let me share my screen and we will get started. What I brought to you today are some of my thoughts on how the role of product leadership is evolving. And even if you're not currently in a product leadership role, maybe you are aspiring to eventually be in one. And then I think this might be a map for themes and topics that you might explore in order to be a great product leader in general. I want to start us off with a thought by Amy Webb. She's a futurist. She usually gives a keynote at South by Southwest, and a lot of what she does is about predicting the future, but she's quite clear that the future is not something we predict, it is something we create. And I want us all as product leaders and as product people to have this in mind, because with everything we do, we create a new future out there in the world. We do have an impact with the products that we release into the world. And I hope that it's rooted in our vision and in our values and in how we want to see the world. And to make this a little bit more explicit, I would like to see a world where when I use a Gen AI tool and I ask it to show me an image of product leaders, it doesn't show me only relatively old white men. It might look like this. It might have her be a product leader. It might display a whole team of empowered people that co-lead product together. It might look like this. And you might not think that this very different looking female person would make a strange product leader. So that's the kind of world I would like to see and that I would like to us all to co-create. And I want you to kind of keep this question in mind. What is the world you want to see? Because with everything we're doing and building, this is the kind of world that hopefully we will co-create together. Obviously, a lot is changing these days, and the topic that is top of mind for everybody is what's happening with Gen AI. Gen AI tools are now integral to many teams. They are especially impactful in teams that are building AI products straight up. And with that, our leadership roles must also adapt and change and evolve. So I spent some time thinking about some of the things that are staying the same. I think what will stay the same is what the core product leadership function even is. It is knowing what makes a product successful in the first place. That is stuff that goes back to Marty Kagan's product principles on delivering value and delivering something usable, delivering something viable and feasible, and I think also something ethical. It is about setting a clear direction. A lot of the work that Martin has been creating in the world around connecting vision and strategy and outcomes and goals and your initiatives with the product principles and values underlying this work, this kind of stuff will stay. You will continue to stay accountable for value creation to the user and to the business. And maybe this and to the business part is what's evolving more. More of an expectation is set to us as product leaders that we're delivering real commercial outcomes to our businesses. We will continue to stay responsible for setting our teams up for success. And that means also hiring the right kind of talent, developing our teams, allocating teams to the right kinds of things. So our job in this is to coach, mentor, and kind of build the shipyard, in Petra Willis' words, the context in which teams can even succeed. This is not going to change just because Gen AI is now in the world. But obviously, some of the things that we are doing will change. So what's evolving is how we do our jobs. Gen AI can augment or automate many of the things that we're doing in product. And a lot of teams around the world are posting. And if you look at LinkedIn, you see a new tip of what you could automate or augment almost every day. And with that comes an expectation also from your leadership, from your boards, from your companies to work and create with AI, and not just for the fun of it, but to create outcomes, right? It is at the end of the day always about business outcomes that we create with these AI tools and with the work we do in product. So our job becomes to find efficiencies and also find the right opportunities It's also about ensuring trust, and I'm going to be speaking about trust a little bit more in the coming slides, and keeping a manageable mental load, because one of the things that I'm starting to see in speaking to product leaders is as people use these tools more and more, you get bombarded with output, you get bombarded with things, and you need to stay kind of focused and clear leveled and sane in the face of all of this. So I think as a product leader, it becomes more important to manage the mental load in our teams. And you also obviously have to know what to augment with AI and what to keep doing as a human. And I'll bring some ideas for how to maybe make that distinction in one of the coming slides. I think there's also some stuff that's radically changing, and that's basically anything on a task level that has to do with data analysis, with knowledge management, or with any kind of repetitive task where it simply makes sense to automate this, where you want to structure the work to maximize the benefits you could reap from machine learning and AI. And then our job here is to keep an eye on like how to do this ethically, how to actually set up a robust machine learning ops pipeline or an appropriate agentic AI flow, and to keep always the focus on how does this align with strategy and customer and business value, because we're not doing any of these things just for the fun of it. We're always looking to create something cool for our users as well as for our business. So I listed some things that I believe are becoming critical skills. Some of them are not new. A lot of them, I hope they are not new, like critical thinking, like a focus on product success principles, like a focus on values and ethics, on clarity of direction, anything vision, strategy, goal setting, a focus on commercial skills and metrics. And I believe an intentional focus on trust building is also needed in a world where a lot of the things that come out of a model might not meet our expectations and therefore unintentionally break trust. But I want to keep a lens on the commercial skills here. We should never forget that our products are means to an end. They're not an end in themselves. And what we're doing as a product function in an organization where we deliver value for them is to create value in one of these four ways. You either increase revenue, you protect revenue, you reduce cost, or you avoid cost in the first place. So I do believe it is a crucial skill for product people, and will continue to be a crucial skill for product people to understand how to calculate a business case and to know what financial metrics matter in your organization. And they're not the same financial metrics in every organization. So my hot tip for you is go speak to the people in your finance team, find out, do they care about top line revenue? Do they care about bottom line profit? Do they care about cash optimization? Do they care about something else? And then start optimizing your business case thinking and the way you think about creating value, and orient it also at that. Obviously, never forgetting what users want, but this commercial side of things is really important if you want to be seen as a positive contributor in your organizations. I think 3 somewhat new skills also come to play. It is this knowing what to automate. It's building ethical and responsible AI, and it's building intentional human-machine trust building. And those are things that are a little bit different than what we have been doing so far. Knowing what to automate, I think it's good to think about Cynefin, and it's quite clear that anything where you have a clear description how it works, if the process is obvious, if the task is maybe even complicated, but it follows a rule book that makes sense, where you know you can have known solutions and clear instructions to get the task done, where you know the input data is stable, and where you have a well-defined output, all of this stuff is great to automate. Where I think we will continue to need humans, and that's quite frankly a lot of the stuff that we do in product, is anything where it's complex, chaotic, or confusing, where the solution approach is not clear, where you have a degree of creativity, intuition, and judgment that's needed to experiment your path forward, and where maybe the optimal output is not yet known. So if you think about these 2 kind of buckets of things and tasks that you're doing, on the needs human category, anything that's about crafting a strategy, anything that is about prioritizing your roadmap and keeping a context in mind that's very complicated and keeps changing. It's not staying stable. So any problem that is changing and evolving is not great to fully automate without any human oversight, because as the input's changing, the output should be changing. And if you automate this and don't think about it, it's probably going to lead to problems. So in the Cynefin world, I would say you're green to automate anything that's clear or complicated. Keep a human in the loop anywhere where it's complex. There might be subtasks that you can optimate, but where things are chaotic, don't even try. This is like, for me, like a very useful way to think about where should you focus and picking the things that make sense to create efficiencies around, and where is it most useful to keep a human in the loop. I also mentioned this ethical and responsible AI stuff, and I took this, or I made this graphic out of a paper that is underlying the ethical guidelines for the EU AI Act. This got published in 2018, and it provides a framework for how they thought about creating the law that has become into effect, and where the rules and regulations are going to get further clarified for us in the coming months. But I think as product people, we should know these principles, because if we adhere to them, we're most likely going to stay compliant and build stuff that is actually creating a world that we would all want to live in. There are pillars of ethical principles: respect for human autonomy, prevention of harm, fairness, and explicability. And I think they should guide your approach and thinking for compliance and ethics in anything you do in building AI products or AI workflows. And there are these 7 key requirements where this paper is quite clear. The idea is you should be continuously monitoring them. This is about human agency and oversight, technical robustness and safety, privacy and data governance, transparency, diversity, non-discrimination and fairness, societal and environmental well-being and accountability. And you kind of see here already, this goes beyond what you might find in the law of what could be forbidden, and goes into the direction of how do you want to actually build a world, right? A world that has societal and environmental well-being. If this is an ethical guideline that guides your thinking and how you build your products, you will probably create something useful for the world. Now, how do you now go about actually continuously monitoring and building these things that pay attention to these principles and ethical guidelines? I spent some time on this, and it's way too small. Don't even bother trying to read this right now. Trying to map into a product lifecycle, going from discovery through analysis, building it, developing it, introducing it to the market, growing it, scaling it, and eventually shutting it down. Like, what are some tools and things along the way of a product lifecycle, and what conversations should we be having? I made this canvas. You can all just ping me, download it from my blog. It's there for anyone to use. You can build on it, do whatever you want with it. But I would want you to start with a conversation about any of these 4 core ethical principles or any of those 7 key requirements, and then use something like this canvas for inspiration on practical tools. There's stuff in there, links to how to create data sheets, how to create model cards, how to build an AI business model canvas. There's so many tools from so many smart people. You really don't have to get started with nothing and find that this ethical topic would be difficult or challenging. It can be quite easy and practical. And then finally, there is this topic of intentional trust building. Trust is what's needed for a buyer to give you money for your product. This is what we want, right? Trust is also what happens in teams where their best work happens, when they're calm, joyful, and trusting. And investing in trust builds speed and revenue. It builds speed because if you don't have to check everything and double and triple check everything, you can keep going faster. And if you trust something and you are willing to pay money for it, it's way more likely that you will create revenue with the products that you purchase and buy. So I really think this trust building piece is central to how we deal with AI products as well. And so how might we build trust into an AI product, right? This is clear labeling in the UX. if you deal with a bot, it says it's a bot. It doesn't pretend to be a human being. It's explaining capabilities and limitations. There might be a disclaimer here saying this is only 95% accurate, right? Like you would share your quality and accuracy metrics along with it. That builds trust. It gives the user an ability to understand, okay, maybe 5% of the outcome of what I just asked might be wrong. I should be thinking about what I'm seeing here. You can provide transparency on data sources, especially when you work with internal data sheets or data sources or internal products and any kind of agentic workflows in your teams. And I think it's always a good idea to provide explanations on how to act on the outputs. These are all inspired by Jana Lipenkova, one of the speakers at one of our product tanks here in Cologne. She's been writing about this for many years. I would highly recommend looking her up. She has great additional ideas on how to build trust in the UX of AI products. But also in our teams, how we might build trust. Trust, I think, is built in experiencing integrity. You do what you say, you care for the people in your team. You have the relevant capabilities to get something done. Otherwise, you're not trusted to get something done. And you're delivering results. And I think as product leaders on the first two, this is where we coach and model. If we role model this, it's likely that our teams will pick up on it. And on the second two parts, this is where we train and we set clear goals, because then our teams can have the relevant skills and can be trusted. And as a result, obviously also hopefully work in a more empowered and fast fashion in our teams. So wrapping all of this up in some final thoughts for you. I believe product leadership needs to stay human. I want us all to embrace the change, focus on trust, ethics, and commercial value, because these are success factors. We need to focus on the core principles for stability in our teams. There's lots of uncertainty out there in our teams, in the market. People are scared to lose their jobs. People are scared to be made redundant. But if we're focusing on the core principles and we keep creating great value and we keep creating business results, it's not likely that our team will be affected. Change is the content. In every change, there's also opportunity. So find those opportunities, stay calm, stay trusting, stay creative with your teams, and be clear what kind of leader you want to be and what kind of world you'd like to build. I hope it's one that centers joy, that centers connection, that centers learning, that centers well-being for the people that use our products. And anything I can help you with in order to get this done, please get in touch if you want these slides. I'm sure Nacho and the team can share them with all of you. I personally work on this as a coach. I teach commercial skills workshops. I teach leadership workshops. I'm speaking on things like this. And I'm happy and proud to be part of this global community that Martin got started so many years ago. And I can keep the torch and keep running with it a little bit longer. Thank you.
Amazing.